Today we'll start talking about Unit 1 kinematics, or 1D kinematics, meaning everything is going to happen in one dimension, at least for now. When we talk about one-dimensional kinematics, we need to at least be talking about distance and displacement. Distance is a scalar measurement. Displacement is a vector measurement. Distance is the actual path. Displacement is the shortest path. As I have there, it is kind of as the crow flies. Not always going to be a straight line. Now, this also then gets into the philosophical debate. If you run the 2 mile in track, what's your overall displacement? Ultimately, your displacement would be 0 because you're starting and stopping at the same place. But your distance is 2 miles. Your displacement, not so much. And that will allow us to, and that understanding will allow us to look at some things when we get into work and power, such as anyone who's lifted any sort of heavy things and then puts them right down where they did no work. They might have expelled some energy, but they did no work. Which, again, it's all like, again, where you get into the terminology issue with physics and the real world, the terminology doesn't always match up really nicely. Now, where we start and stop things will also be there. We're also going to need to make use of the time. That's how we sometimes will indicate what displacement you're at, or it's over what time interval. And that's where we get that delta. And the delta just means change. The delta means change. We've talked about that as a change. I think we looked at that for many of us in previous classes, delta being a change. And the other part becomes, where do we see some other things? Sometimes we will subscript I and F to indicate initial and final, respectively. Although, you might also see any and all of the numbers can be subscripted as well. Time of this, time of 0, time of 1, time of 2. And even though it's the first time, doesn't mean that it's at 1 second. Okay? It's the first time interval taken is what T1 is. T0 is also usually going to be the 0, but T1 does not mean 1 second. That's a very common misunderstanding. It's just the first time interval. It could be 2.1 seconds. The second one does not mean that it's going to be 4.2. It doesn't always have to happen at nice intervals. It's just the second one that was taken. I would reference it very similar to that, like a laps. If you're running the 400 meters, you can sit there and hit the lap button every 100 meters. Your first and your second might be different than your third and your fourth 100 meters. But that indicates to somebody who cares about that where in their race they're slowing down much. Usually on the 400, it's at the end. Or maybe you're running the hurdles, and it would be your time interval in between hurdles, because they are at very nice distance intervals. Your time between hurdle 3 and 4 needs to increase. That's why you're stutter stepping, or where you're losing some time, so to speak. Okay? You can do it for the 100-meter dash as well, but it's just a little bit harder, because every so many meters, it would be that same thing. You see it on the NFL Combine. When they're running the 40, they have little markers out there so they can see their acceleration and their deceleration parts as well. Now they're using photo gate timers. Don't worry, you will as well. Not nice fancy ones that are standing up on like tripods. You get little ones that are in look like an inverted C sometimes. But what that will allow us to do is to get some really nice time intervals. More specifically, let's talk about displacement. Displacement is usually going to be used with a green arrow. A green arrow for displacement. Sometimes the symbol is D or lowercase d, and a lot of times that lowercase d, we will say distance, but mean displacement. Okay? Sometimes, and this is where things get a little confusing, is sometimes we will say distance or displacement in the x direction. Sometimes we just say x and mean and know that, and you should just all know that we're talking about the displacement. We're trying to indicate in which direction it's moving. Because it also, and this is where things can get confusing, distance in the y direction, or just y, is also just labeled as D. Now we get into so how do we know which one's which? That's why, why? These two ways of indicating your displacement is probably best. Your X and your Y is probably your best way of indicating that. Because if I'm saying something is moving in the D direction, you're like, X or Y. And then it's like, well, you got to read the problem. Okay? A lot of the stuff comes into it. But earlier in the last unit, when we started talking about vectors, drawing out what you're doing or drawing out what you do is such an important thing. So that you can visualize the things that are happening in the problem. And so that we can utilize this, because we are now, even though it says one dimension, we are going to solve for things in the X direction, and we are going to solve for things in the Y direction. Next unit, we're going to like almost revert back to unit 0.5, and we're going to add them together. And that's what motion in 2 dimensions does. There's always a method to the madness. Now, when we look at frame of reference, and if you've ever been in a vehicle and you look out to the horizon, it seems to be moving. If you're driving down the highway and you look out into the horizon, it looks like the trees far away are moving. They're not moving as fast maybe as the trees that are closer to you. And it's definitely not moving as fast as the road appears to be moving. But the big thing is we're saying that it appears to be moving. Because when you're driving down the highway, are your surroundings truly moving? Well, we can get philosophical. Well, the Earth's moving. Okay, yeah, okay, we get that. And this is why frame of reference is so important. And this becomes the frustrating thing sometimes with science, or especially with physics. If you don't have the right frame of reference, or you're not viewing it from the right frame of reference, it can be very frustrating at times. So moving down the highway, everything looks like it's moving, but you don't look like you're moving. Because your frame of reference is going to be different. Now, you're sitting on a side of a road and you're watching the cars be whipping by you. The horizon doesn't look like it's moving at all. Those cars look like they're moving. But they would say their frame of reference is different. So that's where we get the what is moving relative. Okay? We are moving, if we're in the car, we are moving relative with the car. The car is moving relative to the ground. And since the Earth does move and everybody's moving on the Earth, technically we can say it isn't really moving, because everything moves at the same rate on the Earth. Because it's a constant, you can eliminate it. or factor it out. But that becomes that what is moving, what isn't moving. How fast does something look like it's moving, but is it actually moving as fast as it actually is? Such as the example of the train track. We can say we are standing off to the side looking at the train. We're able to see the train moving from left to right. And then there's a person inside the train moving left to right. How would we add those vectors together? Would the person look like they're moving very fast? Or would it look like they're moving very slow? What if the person was moving from right to left as the train was moving left to right? What would that look like? Would it look as if they are actually moving very fast? Or would it look like they're not moving at all?